I recently helped an Amazon KDP publisher go from losing money with his Amazon ads to making over $8,000 in profit last month. This is with one book. Now, when I talk about profit, I'm not talking about revenue. I'm not talking about royalties. I'm talking about $8,000 in net profit in a single month with one book. And I'm going to show you exactly how we achieve this. Now, usually publishers pay me thousands for this kind of information, but I'm giving it to you for free, completely for free. Now, whether you implement it to your business or you don't, again, it's not up to me. I'm just here to give you the information. Whether you take action or not, it's all up to you. So if you're currently losing money with your Amazon ads, this is the video you need to watch because this might reveal why you're losing money with Amazon ads. Now, this client ended up joining my program and started working with me at the end of April. Now, he published the book close to April. I'm not going to give the exact date because then you might be able to go and find it. It's a very, very popular book now, but you'll probably be able to go and find it. So I'm not going to try to reveal too much. I'm going to try and keep the client's name secret. Even though if you click on the link down below, you can go on the website, see all the testimonials of people that work with me. Well, not everyone, but you see a percentage of testimonials from people that work with me, and that client is there as well. So if you want to check it out, click on the link in the description. It will take you to the website. You can see the real testimonial that client gave. But anyway, how did we fix his Amazon ads? How did this client go from losing money, and he was losing a lot of money with Amazon ads, to actually making $8,000 in net profit from a single book? And by the way, this is a medium content book as well. I know I'm always preaching about high content books and blah, blah, blah. They make more profit and things like that, and they do. But again, medium content books work, coloring books work, low content books work. It's just, if the system is correct, then it will work. And it's just a lot easier with high content books. But anyway, without preaching high content, how was this client able to go from losing money to making $8,000 in profit in a single month with one book? I'm going to show you exactly how. So when the client joined my program and started working with me, his book was at 1,000 ABSR. Now, here's the thing. This client actually joined from another program. So they went and bought a program or a course online or something from one of these gurus. I'm not going to say who, but they bought a course from one of these gurus. And fair enough to them, it was a decent course because he was able to publish his first book and get it to 1,000 ABSR. Now, here's the thing. Yes, it might have been a good course for like making a good book, but at the end of the day, he still wasn't making any money, right? So no matter how good the course is, if you're not making money, then, I mean, what's the point of being in business, right? So they had a good book, but they weren't making money. Now, the book, within the first month, it was able to hit 1,000 ABSR, which was very, very good because they had multiple pieces of sales data. And sales data is super important because the more sales data you have, the easier it is to scale and optimize and make as much money as possible. Now, the second thing they had is a very, very good book cover. By the way, I'm going to call this client John because it's an easier name. Again, if you want to see the testimonial, you can see their real name on the website. But anyway, we're just going to call them John for this sake. Now, John had a really, really, really good book cover. I saw the book cover, and as soon as they sent me the book cover, I was like, great. All the design principles are on that book cover. If you don't know the design principles in my program, I talk about the 12 design principles every successful book cover has. Some book covers have less, others have all 12, others have like 11 or 10. But the more design principles you have, the better your book cover will convert. This has been tested. We've ran polls for these kind of book covers, and we've tested book covers without the design principles that I talk about and book covers with the design principles. And the book covers with the design principles always outperform the ones without, because those design principles that I talk about feature, well, it's all based on psychology, basically. And it's really hard to mess up with psychology because you're messing with someone's brain. And if you know how someone's brain works, and you know how to implement those psychological triggers in your book cover, design principles, then it's very easy for someone to click on your book cover because you're basically like hijacking their brain, essentially. So their book cover was really, really good, gave them a very high CTR because they had the design principles. Another very, very good thing they had, this was a medium content book, so it's like an activity book. They had a really, really good interior, really good interior. Now, by the way, this person, when they were making the book, they weren't like half doing the book. They put everything into this book. They put so much effort into this book when it comes to the book cover and the interior and the marketing and everything. So the process of someone buying was so easy. It was very easy to sell the book because every single aspect was high quality. However, they were still losing money with ads. So how is it possible that even though they had such a good book, so many pieces of sales data, right? They were on 1,000 ABSR, hovering around 1,000 ABSR, which is around, I think it's around 80 to 100 copies a day, somewhere there. How did they go from that? how were they still losing money? It doesn't make any sense, right? Because the book is so good and they're still losing money. Something has to be wrong. So they joined my program. Then we had a coaching call together. I analyzed the book and I instantly saw the problem. And their problem was Amazon ads. Now, Amazon ads is what most publishers are having problems with. And that's okay because it can be complicated when you don't know what you're doing. But as soon as you know what you're doing, Amazon ads becomes so much easier. I mean, by the end of us working together, like once he became profitable and he realized how Amazon ads works, he loves it. He loved Amazon ads. Like he doesn't mind because there's no overwhelm because he knows how to sort out data and things like that. But anyway, let me not get ahead of myself. So Amazon ads was the problem, right? So what did we end up doing that went from losing money? By the way, he was losing a lot of money every single month, a lot of money. What did we do for it to switch over so he can start becoming profitable? I'm going to show you that right now. So I'm going to give you the time frame as well because I really want you to see how quickly things can shift if you actually know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing and you're kind of like relying on YouTube and things like that, you can still achieve the same results. It just might take a little bit longer. Not might, it will definitely take a little bit longer. So they published their book on, somewhere close to the end of April. And then they saw that they were losing a bunch of money and they decided to start working with me around May 21st. So May 21st is when when they first joined, they started getting the correct information. Now, what happened on May 21st? Well, May 21st, they joined, they booked in a call, and then later on, we had a coaching call together where I was able to analyze everything, and I realized that something was very, very, very wrong with their ads. Now, it might not be their fault. It might not even be the course creator's fault. I'm not going to put blame on anyone, but their ads were not as effective as they could be, and he was losing money because the ads weren't structured correctly. Now, what ended up happening was it's like he had a car, right? And so for a car to work, you have to put fuel in it. Same with your books on Amazon. For your book on Amazon to work, you have to give it fuel, which is your Amazon ads. Now, the thing is, Amazon ads cost money. So he was pouring all this fuel into this car, into this book, essentially. That's the analogy. I hope you understand the analogy. But he was pouring all of this fuel into this car without realizing that the car didn't have wheels, right? It doesn't matter how much fuel you pour into the car. If there's no wheels, it won't move forward, right? And that's what ended up happening with the Amazon ads. He was throwing money on ads. He was able to reach 1,000 ABSR, well done, but he was losing money because the car just wouldn't move. So what was the problem? As soon as I analyzed his ads, I found two main problems. And both problems come from basically the same goal, essentially. Because he had a lot of sales data, which was very, very good, it makes everything so much easier, he was losing money. So the first goal that we had was to optimize spend, right? I can't even spell optimize. It's okay, just bear with me. I just had the coffee right now. Give me like 7 minutes and it will hit. You'll see, like 5 or 7 minutes down the line, you're gonna see me tweaking basically. But anyway, optimizing for spend. So he was spending way too much and he wasn't making enough. So we needed to optimize for spend. Now, the first thing I realized was he had some campaigns, right? So John had some campaigns, some keyword campaigns, and those keyword campaigns were set to broad match and phrase match. So it started getting other search terms. So let's say if this was dinosaur activity book, then that dinosaur activity book keyword in broad match would bring him dinosaur activity book for boys, dinosaur activity book for kids, dinosaur activity book for boys ages 8. So this main keyword will bring in multiple search terms. Now here's the thing. Yes, it was bringing multiple search terms and it was selling for some search terms and it wasn't selling for other search terms. So this one was selling very good and it was profitable, but this search term was losing him money. And that was one of the main problems. So the way that we overcame this problem was by negative exact matching anything, any search term that wasn't profitable. Or not profitable, but at least a high ACoS. What do I mean by a high ACoS? We wanted to target based on the profit margins. Again, you have to kind of see your profit margins because medium content books have different profit margins than high content books and low content books. So you have to do the maths. But around 70% was a good ACoS to have, at least in this initial phase when we're optimizing spend. Again, every single book has different phases of its journey. You have the growth phase, you have optimizing phase, you have profitable phase, right? You have to understand what phase your book is in so you can help it and boost it. If you don't understand what phase your book is in, then you might be giving it goals that it's not ready for. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it makes sense. So we were trying to optimize for spend. So any search term that we got from keywords that was above 70% ACOS because of the profit margins of the book, we just started negative exact matching it. What does this mean? This means you go in your search terms and then you see whatever's above 70%, then you just negative exact match it. And what we did, I told him very, not strictly, but I told him to be wary of this. Every single negative exact match keyword where it brought in a high ACOS, I told him to save it. Why? Because we're going to use it later on. These are still valuable. These negative exact match keywords are still valuable, just not yet. We're targeting them at the wrong stage, at the wrong phase, essentially, of the book's journey. So these ones, we want to target them later on using a different strategy. I'm not going to go into it because it's a little bit too advanced, but I'll show you exactly how we were able to bring this to break even using only these two things. So the first thing we did, negative exact match anything that was a really high ACOS. Now for you, if your book is priced higher, 100% ACOS might be okay for you, right? 70% ACOS might be okay for you. If you have a lower profit margin book and you have a low content book, you might need to optimize for 50% ACOS and above will be negative exact, or 60% ACOS. Again, you want to see your own numbers. So once we started negative exact matching these keywords that were costing us money, we were saving them on like a Google Sheets or whatever you want to save it on. We were saving them for later, for the different phase when it's ready for these keywords. And then what ended up happening was the budget that was being spent on irrelevant keywords or just not high converting keywords or not profitable, at least break even keywords, what we did is, because we saved them, the money could go and be spent on the keywords that were actually working, right? Because now, instead of spending money on keywords that weren't working, we were telling Amazon, no, Amazon, don't show me for this keyword because it's not working. And Amazon's like, okay, well, if I'm not spending money on this keyword that's not working, where else can I spend money? Okay, I'll just spend the money on the keywords that are working then. And that's basically how it all came about. So because we were negative exact matching the ones that weren't working, we were allowing the budget to transfer towards the keywords and the search terms that were working effectively. And what that ended up doing is actually boosting the book a little bit forward. But there was one more thing that happened. This problem was limiting the book's growth. Now you might be saying, but Barry, it's on 1,000 ABSR. It's already selling 80 copies a day. Yes, it was. But that wasn't its maximum capacity. As soon as I saw the book, I knew it could sell way more. Now that might just be because of experience, because I've worked with so many people. But when you're publishing books like this, if you're new, it's easy to kind of put limiting beliefs on yourself. And it's easy to limit your book subconsciously with your own mind. But when you work with someone that has seen other books as well, other successful books, they can help you open your mind to the possibility that you could sell even more. And luckily, John was very open-minded and he knew that he could sell more. So what we did is we actually increased the bid. Now, I know what you're thinking. Barry, if he's losing money on Amazon ads, why would you increase the bid? It doesn't make any logical sense. Well, it doesn't make logical sense on the surface, but it makes logical sense on the back end. If you understand how all the systems work, it makes sense to increase bids. If you're just looking at the publishing business on the surface level, oh, if I increase money, I'll lose money. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. There were some back end things that allowed us to increase the bid. Now, when we increased the bid, what did we increase the bid for? Do you think we increased the bid for the keywords that weren't working? Obviously not. We increased the bids for keywords that were working. So whatever keywords were working and that were giving us, I think at that point it was under 50% ACOS. Anything under 50% ACOS, we would increase the bid a little bit. Again, these doesn't matter because like for your book, it could be different percentages. So this person's book might be at $10.99 at this stage and your might be at $12.99. So these ACOS numbers that I'm talking about can be irrelevant for you. You have to go and do your own numbers. Or if you want my help to figure it out, you can click on the link below. It will take you to my website. You can see the testimonials of people that I've already helped, and then you can make a decision whether you want to work with me or not. But your own numbers, your own book, you have to figure it out yourself. I'm just here to guide you, but you have to do the work. Now, we increased the bids for keywords that were working. So what happens then? We're spending more money on what's already working, so the book is growing, right? It's just making more and more sales every day. Now, because it's making more and more sales every day, and we also negative exact match the ones that were losing money, we were essentially spending the same kind of money, but more effectively. So instead of losing money on things that weren't growing our book, we were spending that money that we would have lost. We were spending it on things that do make our book grow. And that's why we increased the bids. And he also had some keywords. This is very, very important, especially, I don't care what part of the stage that you are. I don't care if you're like on 100,000 ABSR. I don't care if you have a low content book, medium content, high content book. What I'm about to say now applies to every single publisher. If you have keywords inside your Amazon ads that have no impressions, what do you do with no impressions? Some publishers, there's so many publishers out there that come to me and say, Barry, my campaigns don't get impressions, or some keywords in my campaign don't get impressions, so I pause them. And I'm like, why? Why would you pause a keyword that hasn't gotten impressions? Oh, because it's not working. No, it's not that it's not working. Do you know what not working means? Not working means I'm spending money and I'm not making money back. That's what not working means. I'm spending money, I'm losing money. That means it's not working. But if you have no impressions, have you spent any money? No, you've spent nothing. So it's not that it's not working yet, right? It's not working yet. If you don't have impressions, you don't have data that tells you whether it's working or not. So if you have keywords with no impressions, great. That's what we did. We increased the bid. And that's what I would suggest you do. If you have keywords with no impressions, you don't even know if it's working or not. Just increase the bid. Oh, but Barry, if I increase the bid, I can't afford to spend that much. You've spent nothing. You haven't spent anything. What do you mean you can't afford? You haven't spent anything. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think you're spending like $1 on a keyword with no impressions and you increase it to 120? What, you're going to spend $1 million tomorrow? No. If it's not working at $1 and you increase it to 120, great. You might get 3 or 4 clicks at least. You might get 100 impressions at least. If you get 3 or 4 clicks at least, great. You spent $4. If you can't afford to spend $4, then, I mean, I don't want to be mean, but why are you in business if you can't afford $4? And I know there's publishers out there that like basically have no money. I used to be like that as well. The first 2 years of publishing, I had no money. I invested nothing in publishing. I only invested in me learning more and more and more and increasing my skill. So I get what it's like. I was in the army getting paid 200 euros a month. And guess how much my ad cost was in the army? 200 euros. My profit was 200 euros. So essentially, I would get the money from the army, the 200 euros from the army. I would spend it for the ads and then get the 200 euros from KDP. And then I had 200 euros a month to live off of. So I know what it's like to not have money and invest in KDP. But as soon as I got out of the army, I got a job and I saved as much of that money as possible because I knew if I have money, everything is a lot easier. Like if you don't have money, you can still succeed. It's no problem. But it will take way longer and it's going to cost a lot more in time and also money. Because if you have money to invest in ads and you make 100 sales your first month because you invested in ads, great. You have 100 pieces of sales data. If you have only $10 to spend every month and you spend $10, those same 100 sales, it might take you 7 months to get those same 100 sales. Those extra 6 months are 6 months where you're not making money. You're not making the amount of money that you would have made if you invested at the start, right? So it's just like you're delaying your success. And the longer you delay it, the more money you lose because of that wasted opportunity. It's opportunity spend. If I'm making $1,000 this month, and then in 6 months, I'm making 2,000, or actually instead of 2,000, let's just say you're still making 1,000. Well, great. You made 6K in 6 months, right? You made 6,000 in 6 months. It's just simple math. I know there's other things, but you have to pay for ads and things like that. I get it. I'm just using an example. But if you make $1,000 this month, and then in 3 months, you make 2,000 because you decided to save money and invest in ads and things like that, or whatever way you have to get money, then great. Now, instead of you making 6K, in 3 months you went to 2, and then in the next 3 months, you're still at 2, let's say. You made 6K just in these 3 months. And then from here, you made another 3K, let's say, before you hit 2. So now you're making 6, 7, 8, 9. 9K. So if you stay like this because you want to save money, instead of investing money, so it looks like this. So this is 3 months, and then this is another 3 months. But this is 6 months staying the same. Instead of you making 6K, here you're making 9K. So 6, 7, 8, 9, you're missing out on 3K because you decided not to invest earlier. I don't know if that makes sense or if I overcomplicated it, but I hope that makes sense. But anyway, that's the first thing we did to optimize our spend. That's the first step. If you're losing money on Amazon ads, you need to optimize your spend, right? So that's what we did. We negative exact matched everything that was losing us a bunch of money. The ACoS was too high, so it was definitely unprofitable. And it doesn't look like it's going to be profitable anytime soon. We saved all those search terms on our Google Sheets because we're going to need them later. And we also increased the bits for keywords that were already working really good and keywords with no impressions because we don't know if they're working or not. We might have a keyword here that brings us 100 sales at a profitable ACoS, but we don't know because the bid isn't high enough to get impressions. So step 1 was optimizing spend. Now, what ended up happening once we optimized the spend? Well, I'm so glad you asked. So as soon as we optimized the spend, by either the first or the second week, the book saw a dramatic increase. May 25th to June the 4th. Because we optimized spend, this person, John, ended up getting 2,000 orders. He sold 2,000 copies of his book in 9 days. Around 9 days. So he sold 2,000 copies in 9 days, and he was able to reach 249 ABSR. And guess what? He was losing less money, right? And I know what you're thinking, but Barry, he's still losing money. No, he's making more money. It's growing. So let's say if he was losing $3,000 a month. I can't remember how much he was losing, but I'm just going to do some simple maths here. If he was losing $3,000 a month, and then this week, he's now, or like the next month, he's losing 1,000, he just made an extra $2,000, right? The book went from losing this much to losing this much, right? The trajectory is still, this is like a graph that's losing, and then here is profitable, right? I don't know if this makes sense, but you can see the trajectory here. The arrow is still going up. Even here, he's just losing less money. And if you're losing less money than the month before, guess what happens the next month? You're losing less money. And then guess what happens the next month? As long as you're doing everything correct, especially if you have guidance, everything is a lot easier. But guess what happens? You're losing less and less money until eventually there's a point where you've optimized it so effectively that you start making money. And then you never have to look back. You only really have to lose money the first 2 months. Like usually it's just the first month. Second month, you're very, very close to profitable. If you're losing money, it will be like something that's like irrelevant. Basically, your book is growing for free. And then you just start making profit. I hope all of this is making sense. I genuinely hope this is making sense. Now, what did we do so he can achieve 249 ABSR? Well, we optimized for spend. Because we were spending more on what's already working, his book was growing. Now, what's the difference between 1,000 ABSR and 249 ABSR? Well, this one here is around 80 to 100 copies a day. This one here is around 200 copies a day, even more than 200 copies a day. So just from working together and implementing those two things, we were able to double the sales. We doubled the sales, right? Even if you think it's impossible to double the sales at 1,000 ABSR, we did it. Well, in fact, we more than doubled the sales because it's over 200, but we more than doubled the sales and decreased the spend. Not the spend, but we decreased the amount of money this client was losing. Now, this is, again, a normal process. And by the way, we started working together May 21st. By June the 3rd, I think June the 3rd was his biggest sales day yet because we optimized everything correctly. But there was one more thing we did because he's still not making money, right? How did we go from losing less money now to actually making $8,000 in net profit in a single month? Here's how we did it. Now it was time to optimize for profit. So now is the phase where we optimize for profit. So when I saw the book, we basically wanted to milk out as much sales data as possible, milk out as much growth for the book as possible. 1,000 ABSR wasn't good enough. We wanted to push it even higher. So we pushed it even higher with less money lost, and then we have more accurate sales data, and then now the book was ready to optimize for profit. So how do we optimize for profit? This one was even more simple. We did quite a few things, but the main thing we did is we took all the keywords. Remember before, we were like 70%. Anything above 70%, negative exacta, save it for later. This time, anything above 70% or anything close to 70%, we're going to lower the bid slightly. Because we want to get everything from 70%, we want to lower it down to around 60%. What that's going to do is going to do two things. First of all, it's going to lower your spend, which if you lower your spend, you should increase your profit. Most of the times, assuming you're doing things correctly, by the way. But not only is it going to lower your spend and increase your profit, the negative, or some people will see it as a negative, but the negative is that it will decrease your sales as well, most of the times. However, it's kind of like a game of, so we want to decrease the sales made from ads, so organic can start taking over. That's basically like the long-term goal. Again, I don't want to reveal too much, but because we lowered the sales, it would lower the sales because the ACOS will go down, the spend will go down. We'll lower the sales coming from ads, but we'll increase the profit because it allows organic to start picking up. And organic has more than enough sales data now because we pushed it all the way up to 249 ABSR. So that's what we ended up doing. And then when it reached 60%, then we lowered it down to 50%. We just did the same thing. Whatever was working and whatever could be pushed down, then we would push down the cost book or the bid, and it will also lower the ACOS. The ACOS would come down. The spend will also come down, but the organic would increase and the profit, the overall profit would increase, even if the sales went a little bit further down. So instead of selling 2,000 copies this week, next week, he might be selling 1,500 copies, but he would have made more money overall. So it doesn't really matter how many copies you're selling. It matters how much money you're making from selling those copies. But again, we needed to get here to get the sales data, to have the optimizations, and then for the optimizations to take place in order to start making more profit. I hope this is making sense, but that's what we did. We started pushing down the bid, and then we went from 70% to 60% ACOS, and we kept pushing it from 60% to 50% ACOS, and we kept pushing it because we knew around 40% ACOS was our break even. 40 or 45% was our break even. I think it was slightly lower, but as long as we pushed it to 40 to 45, it allowed more than enough room for the organic to take over and to start making even more money with organic. We never had to get break even with the ads. You don't have to get break even with the ads. Why don't you have to get break even with the ads? Because the ads aren't the only place you're getting sales from, right? You have organic as well. Organic and ads work together. And usually, like the minimum, well, not the minimum, but in most cases, if you make one sale from ad, you usually get 2 sales from organic. Now, if your conversion rate and click-through rate and your SEO and everything is like super, super good, especially if you're part of my program and you know the exact step-by-step process, then usually what happens is for every 1 PPC sale or Amazon ads sale, you will get 3 organic sales. So even if you're breaking even here, you're making money from these 3 sales. Even if you're spending double the money here, then this sale makes up for the money that you spend here, and then you also make profit from these 2 sales, right? I don't know if this is making sense, but even if we take this one, if I spent $5 on ads and then made $5 back, great, my ads are breaking even. Let's say this is the royalties. I spent $5 and made $5 in royalties from one sale. My ads are breaking even, but I also made $5 here, and I also made $5 here. So we actually made $10 profit because of those ads. Right? If I spend $10 here on the ads, I hope this is making sense, by the way. If it's not, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll just redo the whole video. But if I spend $10 on ads and then I only made $5 profit, well, I'm losing money on ads, but I'm not losing money overall for the book because I spent $10, I made $5. I also made $5 here from this organic sale, which makes up for the 10. So 5 plus 5 is 10. So this is all sorted. This is break even. And I also made $5 profit from this extra organic sale caused by the money spent in this ads. I genuinely hope this is making sense. If it is, then great. What ended up happening after we implemented everything I talk about here? Well, by June 24th, the book was break even. So that means however much we were spending on ads, we were making back overall on the account. So it doesn't matter if we were spending $1,000 in ads, we made $1,000 back. It doesn't matter if we spend $5,000 on ads, we made $5,000 back. It doesn't matter if we spend $15,000 on ads, we made $15,000 back. Are you happy with spending 15K on ads and then making 15 back? Again, it depends on the stage of the journey that you are, the stage of your book's journey. So if someone tells me, hey, Barry, I just launched my book. I'm spending 15K. I'm getting 50K back. Awesome. You're growing your book for free. You're growing it for free. You don't even have to spend any money on us to grow your book. It's amazing. So that's what we were able to achieve. We went to break even by June 24th. He joined May 21st. And then within around 30 days, again, like he had to book the call and get a coaching call from me and all of that. But within 30 days, he was at break even. Now, if he didn't join, would he be at break even? I don't know. I have no idea. I can't predict the past or the future or like butterfly effect things. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, within 30 days, we reached break even. The book was at around 400 ABSR. So you can see the ABSR dropped, but the overall profit went up. So our sales dropped. So he went from like around 200, 240 sales a day to around 150, 180 sales a day. So our sales dropped, but the overall profit increased. Well, in this case, no profit, but we were break even. And then our spend, well, basically we had no spend. Obviously we spent on ads, but we had no cost. It was free. The book was growing for free. It was gathering sales data for free. It was gathering reviews for free. Oh, and by the way, this book, Break Even, it only had 92 reviews. It was still under 100 reviews. And it was doing all of this, right? Because everything else was structured correctly. Now, how did we turn this profitable? When did it become profitable? So June 24th, it was break even. By July the 2nd, or I think I have it written down. Yeah, by July the 2nd, we were profitable. It was the first profitable day, right? I can't remember how much we made in profit, but it was the first profitable day, July the 2nd, right? So it was only like break even for what? A week. It was break even for a week. It was growing for free for a week. And then it became profitable July the 2nd. And the best part is 50% of the sales were organic. So we had 50% organic sales at a 45% ACOS. So the ads were very close to break even, but because our organic was so good, because everything was just perfect. The book cover was perfect, everything was perfect. And literally the ads were what were holding him back. And because we fixed the ads, we were able to go past that stage of like losing a bunch of money. We went to break even as quickly as possible. Literally within 30 days, we went break even. And then by next month, he was profitable. So all it took was like 35 days to go from losing thousands of dollars a month to making thousands. And now this client, John, it's a fake name, but John contacted me. And then he said, last month in December, he made around $8,000 in net profit from one book. And you might be thinking, oh, but this guy might be really good at design or really good at this and really good at that. This was his first business. And not only was KDP his first business, this book was his first book. So his first book, his first business, and he made $8,000 in net profit. Now, why is that? Well, as scammy as it's going to sound, it's because he got education, because he paid mentors, because he bought a program. He bought another person's program, helped him with the book. He bought my program, my coaching. I helped him with the ads. He paid people that know what they're doing to help him out. And obviously, you can see the results for yourself. And if you don't believe me, no problem. You're allowed to not believe me. It's your own opinion. Just go down below, click on the link in the description, open up my website, and then you'll see all the testimonials there. And you'll be able to find John as well. His name is not John, by the way, but I'm just keeping it for like animosity's sake. Yeah. So you can go down there and see the testimonial for yourself and see how he was able to achieve it. Now, if your Amazon ads are holding you back and you want to see how you can scale your book, click on the link in the description. You'll be able to work with me and I'll be able to help you one-on-one, personally fix your ads and get you to the point where you're actually making money with your business. And the longer you just keep losing money with your business, the longer you keep wasting money, essentially, because you're losing out on money that you could have been making if you had the right knowledge, or you had the right guidance, or you had the right Amazon ads. So if you need help with your Amazon KDP business, click on the link in the description. I'm more than happy to help you as long as you're willing to put in the work. I can tell you what to do, but I can't do the work for you. So if you are willing to put in the effort and you do want guidance and you do want to start making money as quickly as possible with your business, or you're already making money and you just want to make more as quickly as possible, then great. Click on the link in the description. You'll figure out how to do it. Super simple website. You'll figure out what you have to do. But if you just want to continue with YouTube and you don't really care about scaling quickly or making money quickly, you just want to figure it all out by yourself, again, no problem. You do you. Click on the video that just popped up here. Super, super valuable video. It will help you with your Amazon KDP business. But anyway, go out there and make a bunch of money with KDP.